Up to now, we've done all of our IDE work inside of IntelliJ. So let's take a quick look at using NetBeans to create and run a project. I have a shortcut to NetBeans right here on my desktop, so let's go ahead and start that up. So here we are inside of the NetBeans IDE. So let's create a new project. So I'm just going to say File, New Project. Now when we come over here, it just asks what kind of project do I want it to be. So I want it to go ahead and be a Java project. It's going to be a Java application, so that's all fine. So let's click Next. So now it comes in here, and we first wants the project name. So we'll go ahead and call this, we'll just call this our Hello NetBeans project. And so just like IntelliJ, the project name is really an IDE concept, right? So what we want to do now is go through it, identify where we want it to go. So I'm just going to put it in the same demo folder I've been using for the other parts, or for the other demos. Now down here, the create a main class, right? So remember that we have our main entry point into our application. Now in NetBeans, you actually specify the package name and the class name all together, right? So we're going to follow the same rules of com.pluralsight. So I've got the top level of the package name. I'm just going to make the next level, just say example. And so at this point, that's still my package name. And then I'm going to give it that initial class. Now remember we said that although IntelliJ always called it main, we can call it anything we want. So I'm going to go ahead and call it app_main. So what this is really saying is that my initial class is called app_main, and it's in the package com.pluralsight.example. So let's click finish. So here we are inside of the source code. I'm going to go ahead and close this output window for now, just get it out of the way so we can see more. So you'll notice there, over there on the left, we've got our source packages, and that's our app_main.java, which is the source code file we're in right now. You notice there at the top, it creates our package declaration, com.pluralsight.example, and we see our class definition. We've got our main entry point, which is the public static void main. Right, so that's where our code will run from initially. And you notice also that NetBeans even put some initial comments in. Right? It was a block comment up the very top there, just telling us a little bit about working with the IDE itself. If you notice, there's the /** above the app main. Right? That's actually a Java docs comment. So it's even initially laying it out so that we have Java docs in place for the app main and even for our main entry point. So let's go inside of here, and let's just add a little code to output something. So we've added the code now just to print out Hello NetBeans. So let's go up here and try running it. So I'm going to go up here to my Run menu, choose Run Project. So we can see there in our output window that we've got the Hello NetBeans printed out. So we were able to run, or I should say compile and run our application that easily, right? Very much like what we did in IntelliJ. Right? We saw there were some basic differences in terms of how we created that initial class name and created the project, but fundamentally all the IDEs work in very similar ways. Now let's take a look at if we wanted to actually run this application from the command line, where we would actually find the folder so that we could actually run it. Right? Remember that I mentioned earlier that each of the IDEs kind of sets up its output folder structure a little bit differently. So here I am in my demo folder, and here's our Hello NetBeans folder that we created for this project. Go down inside of there. And you notice here that in NetBeans, instead of having an output folder, we actually have this build folder. So let's go in there, and there's a classes folder, right? And that's where we're going to run our application from the command line here in the NetBeans project. So we're going to go ahead and just open up command prompt. And just like before, we're going to say Java to run it, and we're going to again give the package qualified class name. So com.pluralsight.example. And then our class name, which in this case we called app_main. If we hit enter, we can there see our output, Hello NetBeans. Right? So we still ran it exactly the same. The only difference was that the IDE for NetBeans created a slightly different output file structure than IntelliJ had.